Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Before we go on, let me remind everyone that this month, this is the tarot deck that I'm giving away on my channel, the Beautiful Creatures Tarot Deck and Guidebook giveaway. Um, and all you have to do is subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment letting me know that you are interested. All right, guys, so let's get right into it. I'm going to pull out your oracle cards for this week. I do hope everything is all right with the live stream. This is going to be for Libra. All right, guys, so let's get right into it. I hope everyone out there is staying safe, staying healthy, and staying kind to each other, right? All right, guys. Let's see what your week might be like, Libra. This is my Spirits of Darkness and Light deck, which I love so much. All right, straight out, we have Spirit of St. Nicholas. Wow. Look at that. Presence, generosity, assistance. We have Spirit of Alchemy. So that's interesting. Manifesting, transmuting energies. Interesting. This is a new deck for me. It's the first time this card has come out. And then we have Spirit of the Dog. Friendship, companionship, loyalty. Undying loyalty even, right? So before we get into your beautiful creature spread, let's go ahead and pull out your animal spirit. Spirit of alchemy. It's very, very interesting, skill, alchemy. We associate alchemy with the magician, with talent, skill, abilities, being able to manifest things through the use of multiple talents. So let's see what kind of animal spirits you may have with you this week, Libra. Straight out, we have the deer. Wow. And we have the elk. And the bat. Air energy. So 2 earth energies and an air. So before I get into your spread, let me go ahead and go through these beautiful animal spirits that you have with you. You actually, interestingly enough, this is one of the first times ever I think that I've gotten the animal spirit for the mother and the father in the same spread. The deer is the animal spirit for the mother, and elk is the animal spirit for the father. So that's quite interesting. So let's take a deep look for a moment. The deer is associated with mother spirit, right? The need to protect, to nurture, to teach, but more than anything, to protect and to nurture. So the deer is very, very gentle, and yet at the same time, very, very strong and protective and the guardian of something. Now, sometimes this can indicate motherhood as well, the deer coming into your life. So you may have a new child or a new baby coming into your life. Sometimes it can indicate also a new project or a new creative endeavor that is kind of essentially your baby, right? That you have brought into the world, that you have manifested. And now this new project requires nurturing, it requires attention, it requires protection. Now, the elk is the card, the animal spirit for the father. So, in the same spread, some of you are definitely dealing with being parents. You may be dealing with parents. You may be dealing with the opposite sex and you're having a child together. Very, very interesting. Definitely reminiscent of a union. Now, the elk, of course, being the father card, is associated with power and authority, is associated with wisdom. Sometimes the father can be a little bit overbearing, though. The elk can be a little bit egotistical because, of course, he's so used to having, the last word and the say and deciding what the family does, etc., etc. So it's quite interesting that sometimes elk energy can be quite overbearing, right? If you're dealing with father issues, right? If you're dealing with healing family issues, you may be working on that. You may be dealing with a father figure that is overbearing. Um, But for the most part, when elk energy is in balance, it is the same as the deer energy in balance. It is all of the wonderful traits that we would associate with a strong, protective, wise, and sort of a leadership role of a father. Um, some of you, I have a feeling that you may be coming in contact with your father or a father figure that you may not have seen for quite some time. All right. This is just an intuitive feeling that just came into me. For some of you, you're dealing with the bat. Now, the bat is air energy, and the bat is associated with the darkness before the dawn, right? There is a dawning coming. Right. There is definitely a dawning coming. You can't stop the dawn coming. You can't stop the new day from coming. And so the bat talks about, this energy that we have when we know that something new is on the horizon, something great, something positive is on the horizon. And these are like the final moments of the darkness, right? And sort of getting through these final moments, dispelling the last little sort of connections that we have to things that we no longer need, right? The bat is associated with that, that last little bit of darkness before a new day starts, and kind of also healing and coming to terms with those last things that we will want to leave behind us as the new day starts. Because once the new day dawns, we want to be fresh and ready to accept it without any connections or ties that are sort of holding us back, or maybe holding us to things that are not good for us, or no longer work for us at where we're at in our lives now, right? They don't no longer serve us. And so these ties are all the things that really just need to be let go of so that the new day can be approached with a fresh sort of viewpoint and a fresh energy. All right, guys, let's get right into it, Libra. We're going to pull out your beautiful creature spreads and see what your week might be like, Libra. All right, so straight out, we have Knight of Pentacles, Judgment, and the Hanging Man. So Knight of Pentacles has been showing up for everybody this week, along with the Hermit card, one of those, the Hermit, Knight of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles are the cards that have been showing up in all the readings. But so far in this spread, we have the Knight of Pentacles for you, Libra. And so some of you are definitely coming into this week with a definite idea about a goal. Right. It's interesting that in this time that we're living in, where everyone is kind of dealing with forced circumstances of having to stay away from each other, having to be alienated, perhaps, or having to be sort of some of us, having not any work, right? Having to sort of just stay in place and not having anything to do. A lot of my collective are very busy. You guys are really, really busy because Knight of Pentacles is coming in for you, Libra. So there's a Libra out there who's resonating with this. You have a lot of work to do this week, and you have a real definite goal that you're going after. You're being very methodical about it. You're being very committed to it and diligent. These are all of the things that we associate with the Knight of Pentacles, that kind of commitment, that kind of working hard and not stopping until the goal is met. Right. So some of you are coming into this week, you're feeling quite ambitious, I want to say, and you have certain experiences that are rounding out with this energy of Judgment coming in for you. And in this deck, it's interesting that Judgment is called the card for opportunity. Judgment is really about it, and it can be an opportunity. It can be an opportunity oftentimes to have an experience that expands our viewpoint. Judgment talks about having certain experiences or getting into certain places in our lives where we have now experienced things that have opened up our viewpoint, has broadened our horizons, and our judgment of life and people and certain events is not so limited anymore. It's not from that narrow point of view anymore, because now you've experienced it. We all have opinions. We all make judgments, and we all have opinions. And we have opinion. Everybody has opinions. Sometimes we have opinions about things that we don't have any personal experience of. but we have an opinion of it, right? We can still form an opinion. Well, once you gain personal experience of something, your opinion of it changes. Your judgment changes, your discernment changes. And that's what judgment is all about. It's really opportunities in your life to really expand your viewpoint. And a lot of times it can indicate a feeling of wanting to reconcile sometimes, or wanting to go back to an event in your life that maybe didn't um, now with hindsight, with this experience, now you'd like to maybe go back to that event or go back to that connection and maybe fix it or mend gaps, mend bridges, things like that. In any case, this is happening for you this week. And this is going to be coming in for you, Libra, during the course of your work here with Knight of Pentacles. And by the end of the week, it's funny, you round off with the Hanging One. In this deck, it's called the Hanging One or the Hanged Man. And the Hanging One is a perception in the Beautiful Creatures deck. I always call it the card for awareness. A lot of times the Hanged Man is interpreted as somebody who's stuck, but in fact the Hanged Man is all about awareness and opening up your perception. A lot of times what happens, inspiration can come in and wake you up. And usually this is the case with the Hanged Man. Right? Your inspiration comes in and suddenly your perception wakes up. Suddenly certain areas in your life where perhaps you didn't put your best foot forward, or perhaps you just didn't feel like putting that much energy into it. Maybe it wasn't that important to you, or whatever the case is. Usually with the Hanged Man, what happens is some kind of inspiration comes in and we realize, or we wake up to something, wake up to an idea, a passion, some area in our life that suddenly now we do want to employ all of our energies into. And this is happening for some of you Libras out there, right? During the course of your work this week, you're going to have some really interesting experiences, some kind of mind-opening experiences, and they're going to have a knock-on effect for some of you on a particular area in your life that you are wanting to now put a lot more effort into, or it could even be a new area in your life that you didn't even realize was there before, right? It could be a new passion. But whatever the case is, there is inspiration that comes in this week as a result of this judgment. It can also be that somebody's coming in for you this week who wants to reconcile with you. And the connection with them or the conversation that you have with them can also serve as that inspiration to really sort of open up your awareness, open up your perception on a particular area in your life that now is much more in focus for you and something that's very important to you now. Next spread. Two of Pentacles, not surprised. Five of Cups. And the Page of Swords. Well, Page of Swords has been showing up a lot, also quite interesting. Two of Pentacles, there's a lot of chaos, right? In this deck, we call it flexibility. Flexibility is required because right now things are up in the air, right? Finances are up in the air. Our environment, how are we going to live, our jobs, everything for a lot of us are up in the air. I know that I'm in the US, but I think that this is affecting everybody in the world, which is so unprecedented. Nevertheless, some of you Libras are coming in this week and you're really juggling. You're having to be flexible because you're juggling a lot of different things now, right? A lot of different worries, anxieties, right? You may be juggling different jobs, new jobs, right? In any case, you are required to be flexible right now. And the one thing I want to tell you about Two of Pentacles energy, it is temporary. It's flux energy by nature. So flux, when we talk about flux, we mean that constant moving in flux. When something is in flux, it just simply does not become static. It is constantly moving, but by nature, this is temporary, and eventually things will settle. In any case, you're coming into this week, and this week you have some experiences that really remind you of a past regret. Five of Cups come in for some of you Libras, and five is the number for power struggle in tarot. But here with Five of Cups, it's an internal power struggle, and it's that feeling of looking back on an event in your life that you had, or maybe a breakup, some kind of event, and it went down some kind of way that just doesn't sit right with you. Now, sometimes I call this an internal power struggle because The struggle is, sometimes we can either sort of wallow in that event and obsess and think about it and think about it and think about it. We could say, well, that went like that, and so all of, this is how it's always ever going to be for me. Sometimes that can happen with Five of Cups, sort of wallowing in a past pain and preferring to sit there in the past pain, because a lot of times you don't want to move forward because you're afraid of future pain. A lot of times it's a lot easier to sit with the pain that we know than to let go of that and move forward into the unknown. And this is a lot of times why people have trouble with Five of Cups. And you would say, well, why don't they just let go? Why don't they just let go? Because the pain we know is a lot less scary than the pain we don't know. And the future is uncertain. And a lot of times that internal power struggle is the fear that if we let go of what happened in the past, something that we know how we feel about, that we're almost comfortable with, we let go of that. And if we have hope, right? Hope and faith in the future, and then we're hurt in the future, we fear that we can't handle it. We fear that we can't handle that future pain because it's unknown. We don't know how bad it's going to be, and there you go down the rabbit hole of negative thinking. And this is the internal power struggle with Five of Cups, right? Why it's so hard sometimes for some people to just let go of the past, because it's actually much more frightening to face an unknown future. Nevertheless, you deal with this week, right? You deal with this week, this Five of Cups. And I'm going to say you may have friends who come in and help you with this, right? The deer, the spirit of the mother, or the father, and you have the spirit of the dog. Friendship, companionship, undying loyalty. I think that you may have, for some of you may have friends who come in this week and help you kind of deal with this a little bit, because by the end of the week, you really round off with a Page of Swords. And I love this beautiful Page of Swords in this deck because it's just, excuse me, such a beautiful card. But Page of Swords is all about confidence, maintaining your confidence, fighting off negative ideas, fighting off negativity and negative self-image, and all of the things that we actually associate with the Five of Cups. That pessimistic viewpoint, that fear of moving forward. Page of Swords is all about that, right? It's all about vanquishing those negative thoughts that we have, or negative energies that others will put on us that kind of tell us, you can't succeed. And it's interesting because this Five of Cups has something to do, I'm going to say, this pain or this past event has something to do with your sense of self, in terms of your sense of self-esteem, your sense of how smart you believe you are, right? Because the Page of Swords is all about positive self-image and positive self-psyche, ego, right? Having a positive image of your ego. It's being confident in your ideas. You know what I mean? And so it's interesting that this is the energy you round the week off, because I feel like this past pain had something to do with self-esteem. It was some kind of event with someone, I think, or some kind of event that came in. And I think that the lingering trauma of it is that it affected your self-esteem in terms of how smart you believe you are, or how clever or how capable you believe you are. There may be a few doubts there in that area, or you may have had a little bit of trauma in that area. It may be difficult for you to summon up self-confidence and the belief that you can do it. But this week is a real healing week for you. And I think a lot of this is down to the fact that you are handling this Two of Pentacles so well, because Two of Pentacles is such a difficult and chaotic energy that for you to handle it is already something you should be patting yourself on the back, for. So I think that just the fact that you are surviving so well is something that's helping you not only move forward, but I think it's helping you heal from a particular past event that really, up until now, really ate away at your self-esteem. The High Priestess, the Five of Swords, more fives, and the Four of Swords. All right, this is the last spread for you, Libra. The High Priestess, wow, well, some of you are coming in this week just on fire with your intuition and your self-confidence. Speaking of self-confidence, In this deck, of course, the high priestess is called inner wisdom, but inner wisdom and intuition go hand in hand with self-confidence. Why? Because in order to listen to your intuition and your in that voice inside of yourself, you have to have the confidence to do so. A lot of times people don't listen to their intuition because they don't believe it's right, or they're not confident in it. They're not confident in the message that they're receiving. Sometimes the message they're receiving is something they don't want to hear. So, strength and self confidence really go hand in hand with the high priestess as you work on your intuition and you listen to it and you begin to have this relationship with it where you are able to question that inner voice when to make sure that it's correct, and also to follow it, right? To be objective and to be subjective at the same time. This is all about getting to know your inner voice. In any case, Libra, some of you are coming in this week resonating very highly with that. Very high intuition. There's something is about to go down, and it's going to go down, right? So you had an inkling about something this week. Now, Five of Swords is the card for defeat. I always say that. I call it the card for defeat, but it's not really defeat. It's more acquiescing. It's saying, look, I don't want to be in this battle with you anymore because this battle is beneath me. And just engaging with you on this level is taking away all my energy. You know what I'm saying? And generally, Five of Swords will be with somebody you can't beat anyway because, look at the face she has on this card. It's because the person she's in a battle with is a cheater. She's looking at him like, what you did is wrong. You know what I mean? How can I even, engage in this duel with you or this challenge or this battle with you if you cheat? If everything that you're willing to do all this underhanded shit. And then you just you get to this point where you're just like, well, you know what? I'm going to throw my hands up. I can't be bothered with this. I don't want to lower myself to your level. Right? So you win. And in this way, Five of Swords is the card for defeat. For those of you who are familiar with the traditional tarot, the Five of Swords is the card where the man is standing there. He has two swords or three swords, I think, two over his shoulder, and one he's leaning on. And the two other men are kind of turned their back and walked away in disgust because they don't want to battle with him anymore. He's willing to do anything to win, and there's no honor in it, no dignity. This is all this energy with this battle. So this week, something happens that you saw coming down the line, Libra, because your high priestess is raging as you come in. So you saw this coming down the line. It is something to do with a particular battle that you have. And by the end of the week, you round off with Four of Swords, which is really the card for truce. Or here in this deck, it's called repose. And you're taking a moment to step back and figure out your next move. This is going to be something to do possibly with work, your business, your career. It could be something to do with a particular project that you're working on. It's something important. It's something that's affecting your life because it's swords energy. So you're having to do a lot of strategizing, a lot of thinking about how to get around this, right? But what I can tell you is that for some of you who have been embroiled in a battle with someone, and there's a certain sort of, you may have been saying, you know what, I bet you this is going to happen this week. And this battle you're having is with somebody who's quite underhanded. Some of you who are specifically in a situation like this, and you have been anticipating a certain sequence of events, is probably going to come to pass for you this week. And the important thing to remember is that you have a lot of interesting energies working with you. Spirit of alchemy, manifest, skill, transmutation. You're going to be able to transmute through all of this week, whatever it is, because not only are you prepared, because you already know, you've already got that inkling, that feeling, but you also are skilled and manifesting a high degree of ability right now to sidestep, to step over, to figure things out, right? To come up with the right ideas. So you have a lot of things working for you right now to be able to handle this particular battle that you've been embroiled in. And more importantly, by the end of the week, you definitely figure out that it's time to strategize your next move. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. This is your reading for the week. Please do not forget, Libras and cross watchers, to subscribe and let me know if you're interested in receiving this deck as the giveaway this month. All you have to do is subscribe, leave me a comment, and most importantly, check back with me at the end of the month and let me know if you hear your name called out in a winner video. Check back on my email, bowandarrowtarot@gmail.com, and send me your details so I can go ahead and ship the deck out to you. I think this is probably the 6th deck I've given away on my channel so far. So this is something I'm going to be doing each and every month. So please do check back with me at Bow and Arrow Tarot. But for right now, Libra, I love you guys so much. Thank you all for having patience as I work through my technical difficulties and getting this live streams up for you. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to take a little break and then I will be back with Scorpio. Bye-bye, guys.